DNA contains literal software. In this video, we provide reasoning and scientific quotes to establish the following thesis. DNA contains literal code and literal software. Software is the intangible set of instructions and data that run on a computer system and make it work. It's the invisible counterpart to the physical hardware that makes up the computer itself. Just like a recipe tells a chef what ingredients to use and how to combine them to create a dish, software tells a computer what steps to take to perform a specific task. DNA software is the intangible set of instructions and data that run on a biological system and make it work. It's the invisible counterpart to the physical biological hardware that makes up the biological organism itself. Just like a recipe tells a chef what ingredients to use and how to combine them to create a dish, DNA software tells the genetic biological computer, that is the biological organism, what steps to take to perform a specific task in the body of the creature. DNA contains two major kinds of software instructions, A. Genes, and B. Non-gene coding instructions. DNA genes provide instructions on how to create and assemble a protein nanomolecular machine. Non-gene coding DNA provide instructions what to do, when to do, where to do, and how much to do, with proteins. Non-gene coding DNA also provide instructions for control of gene regulatory circuits. Thesis. DNA contains literal code and literal software. 1. See quotes below that confirm the thesis above, from world-leading computer scientists, software experts, information theory experts, biologists, biophysicists, mathematicians and physicists. 2. DNA is like a computer program but far more advanced than any software ever created, Bill Gates. 3. Any given chain of functional information can be traced back to an intelligent source. Information comprises the non-material foundation for all technological systems, works of art, and biological systems. Dr. Werner Gitt, information technology expert. 4. DNA is actually the software of life. Dr. Craig Venter, PhD in physiology and pharmacology, biotechnologist, biochemist, geneticist. He's known for leading the team of scientists that determined the sequence of the human genome. 5. Life is a DNA software system, Dr. Craig Venter. 6. Information, transcription, translation, code, redundancy, synonymous, messenger, editing, and proofreading are all appropriate terms in biology. They take their meaning from information theory, Shannon, 1984, and are not synonyms, metaphors, or analogies. We are not reasoning by analogy. The sequence hypothesis, that the exact order of symbols records semantic information, applies directly to the protein and the genetic text, as well as to written language, and therefore, the treatment is mathematically identical. Dr. Hubert Yockey, biophysicist, mathematician and information theorist, information theory, evolution, and the origin of life. 7. Even the world's most outspoken atheist, the Oxford University biologist Richard Dawkins, states that DNA is a language very similar to a computer language. He writes, "The machine code of the genes is uncannily computer-like. Apart from differences in jargon, the pages of a molecular biology journal might be interchanged with those of a computer engineering journal." Dr. Dawkins. 8. Elsewhere, Dawkins writes, "What has happened is that genetics has become a branch of information technology. The genetic code is truly digital, in exactly the same sense as computer codes. This is not some vague analogy, it is the literal truth." Dr. Dawkins. 9. Some species of the unjustly called primitive amoebas have as much information in their DNA as 1,000 Encyclopedia Britannicas. Dr. Richard Dawkins. 10. The chance that useful DNA molecules would develop without a designer are apparently zero. Then let me conclude by asking which came first, the DNA, which is essential for the synthesis of proteins, or the protein enzyme, DNA polymerase, without which DNA synthesis is nil. There is virtually no chance that chemical letters would spontaneously produce coherent DNA and protein words. Dr. George Howe, PhD botany, professor of botany and biology, postdoctoral studies in radiation biology and desert biology. 11. What is the source of DNA's information? How stupid atoms spontaneously write their own software? And where did the very peculiar form of information needed to get the first living cell up and running come from? Nobody knows. Dr. Paul Davies, theoretical physicist, Life Force, New Scientist, Volume 163, 1999, pages 27 to 30. 12. Once this essential point is grasped, the real problem of biogenesis is clear. Since the heady successes of molecular biology, most investigators have sought the secret of life in the physics and chemistry of molecules. But they will look in vain for conventional physics and chemistry to explain life, for that is a classic case of confusing the medium with the message. The secret of life lies, not in its chemical basis, but in the logical and informational rules it exploits. Dr. Paul Davies, theoretical physicist. Conclusion. 1. DNA contains literal code and literal software. 2. Software requires intelligence, rationality, planning, and purpose, all of which are hallmarks of intelligent design. 3. Natural law cannot act with intelligence, rationality, planning, and purpose. So, natural law cannot create software. 4. Random chance cannot act with intelligence, rationality, planning, and purpose. So, random chance cannot create software. 5. So, natural law cannot create software, and neither can random chance. 6. Intelligence is the only possible rational cause for software. So, the presence of software in DNA is evidence for, or proof of, intelligent design. Thanks to Michael Mote and Gary Hitch for compiling the quotes above.